Dear students, I welcome you back to this e-Shikshana program with respect to your course Data Mining and Data Warehousing. In your previous video sessions, we have covered some part of your classification, that is your module 4, wherein we have discussed the basic definitions of classifier, how a classifier is built, the different types of classifiers such as rule-based classifier, the decision tree classifier. In today's class, we will be discussing about instance-based classifiers, which are the other category of classifiers. Now, before going into the details, we shall just recollect what is a classifier. A classifier is a model which will classify or categorize a predefined set of inputs, which I call it as attribute set or the training data set, to a predefined target set or a target concept. That part of categorization is called as classification process, and this classification is achieved by a classifier model. And to this we have discussed two models, that is your rule based classifier and decision based classifiers. These rule based classifiers work on the concept of if then statements, whereas your decision tree, it's a tree having root node, non-terminal nodes and leaf nodes. Based on this process, we have found the class label of a new instance by using the training data set. Now we'll go for the next concept called as instance based classifiers, wherein these instance based classifiers differ from your regular rule based classifiers or decision tree classifiers. Now what is the difference? Now, as we have seen already the working principle of decision tree and rule based classifiers. Now what exactly does these models do? They will actually prepare a classifier model by using the existing training data set, validate, and then for the new instance they will prepare the data set. That means unless and until the classification model is ready, they will not classify the new new testing instances. That means class label of a new instance can only be found by preparing a classifier. That is the concept with respect to your rule based and decision tree based classification. But whereas instance based classifiers, what do? Whenever the new inputs come, they just keep on storing. I repeat, in case of your instance based classifier, whenever the inputs keep coming, they just store them and they prepare a database of it. And when the new instance come, they will compare whether the attribute and their attribute value pairs of a new instance are matching the training sets which are stored in the data set. If they are matching, they will return the result, else they will not return the result. And these instance based classifiers are also called as lazy classifiers or lazy learners, whereas your rule based and decision tree are called as eager learners. We will discuss those in detail. Now these instance based classifiers, now as of now, whatever, as I said, we have discussed rule based classifier as well as decision tree classifiers. All these learning methods represent to a form of constructing a classifier with explicit description of the target function when examples are provided. That's what I said. Whenever a new instance is formed, with the classifier model that I have constructed, the target label or the class label will be found. But whereas in case of your instance based classifier, the examples are simply stored. The generalization is postponed until a new instance must be classified. What is generalization? Finding the class label of the new instance, whether a student has passed or failed, it will be postponed. When will it be declared? When all the input sets are stored and then a new instance come and they'll try to match whether it is available in the data set or not. If it is available, it will give the result, else no. That's what I call it as the instance based learner. In order to assign a target function value, that is the class label, its relationship to the previously stored examples is examined, and sometimes this is referred to as lazy learner. So that is what will discriminate with respect to your eager learner and lazy learner. I repeat, your rule based as well as decision tree learning are examples for eager learning, whereas your instance based learning, we will see couple of algorithms like the k nearest algorithm, they are example for lazy learning. Or in a simple difference, fine, we can make this as two category of students, wherein the moment a concept is taught, students go back and prepare. There are some students who will wait for the examination or the internals. Unless an internals come, they don't start preparing. Fine. So that is the difference between eager learning and lazy learning. When internals comes, you start preparing for it. That is lazy learning. The moment a concept is taught, you start preparing for it. It is eager learning. So the formal definition for eager learning methods construct general explicit description of the target function based on the provided training examples. That is what I mean. A model is constructed by using the training examples, and the class label for the new instance is found by using the training dataset after validation. That is your eager learning. But whereas lazy learning methods, they just simply store the data, and the generalization behind this is postponed until an explicit request is made. So as and when the training samples come, they just get stored. When a new instance, a request comes for finding the class label of a new instance, then they are compared and the class label for the target function is retrieved. That is the basic differentiation between your eager learning and lazy learning. Now examples for your instance based learners are, the first concept is the rote learner, which memorizes the entire training data. Memorize in the sense store it, fine, and perform classification only if attributes of the record match one of the training examples exactly. So your instance based classifier, the first set of category, the rote learner, is very simple. Training samples are stored, a new instance come, if the attributes of the classification record of the new instance match, then the exact result, the class label of the target function, is notified, else no. The very first example or the algorithm with respect to your instance based classifier as a rote learner is the nearest neighbor, which uses the concept called as k. K is nothing but a notation describing the number of nearest neighbors. So nearest neighbor uses the k closest points, the nearest neighbors, for performing classification. Or a simple example for your nearest neighbor is, say for example you have WhatsApp ID, right? You have WhatsApp account. How will you add friends? Your nearest friends, your closest friends, or your relatives. You'll start making a group. That is also an example for classification, wherein the nearestness is nothing but the similarity or the like-mindedness. Now how many points, the k value that we are supposed to decide, we'll discuss through along the characteristics, the working principle of k nearest neighbor algorithm. First we'll see a small example wherein we are trying to classify a new bird or an animal, whether it will be a duck or not. So basically I can say the given animal is duck if it, again don't get confused with respect to I'm saying duck as an animal. If you take the vertebrate classification, I'm just classifying it as the animal as duck, fine. So if an animal is able to walk like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, then probably I can say the given new instance is duck. So please understand, the walking style and quacking style will be the attributes of the training sample. If the new instance has these attribute value pairs, then I'll classify it as a duck, else no. We'll see how the, sorry, a technical problem. So we'll now see how the training samples are prepared and the testing sample, a new instance class label, how is it found, fine. Now I have the training samples here. I have different types of words with different types of environment, that means the attribute value pairs. This I call it as my training records, and the new instance is my testing record. So this animal will have some attribute value pairs, these also will have some attribute value pairs, and I am supposed to find which of the training records map to the given attribute value pairs of the testing record, or the vice versa. So what will I do? I'll first find the distance. We'll compute the distance from the training records to the testing records. How to find the distance from the training records to the testing records? We have already seen three concepts of classifying the or computing the distance of a given attribute value pairs, that is your Euclidean distance, the Manhattan distance, and the Minkowski's distance, which will indicate the class similarity or dissimilarity. So I please repeat, to find the likeliness of these training records to become a class label for this testing record, I'll first compute the distance using the data similarity or dissimilarity factors or parameters such as your Euclidean distance, Manhattan distance and Minkowski's distance. And then after finding the distance, I'll see which is having the lowest value of the distance from this training records to testing record. That is the first instance. Fine. So please remember, I'll compute the distance and find the record from the training instance having least value to the testing record. And once that is done, that's what I do here. Fine. Two records are having closest value to the testing record. Choose k of the nearest records. How to choose k, we'll see. Now these nearest neighbor classification, such as your KNN classifier, are called as lazy learners. It does not build a model explicitly. So I have just told it will only start storing and then it will find the class label of the new instance, which is unlike your decision tree induction and rule based classifiers. And classifying the unknown records using your instance based classifier or your KNN is relatively expensive. Now you please observe this diagram. You can see that there is a decision boundary and there are certain balls here. Fine. Different set of balls, all are in round in shape. Some are red in color, some are blue in color. Only one instance with white, the other instance with green. So all these balls I call them as instances, and the attribute for them is color. And what are the attribute value pairs? They are taking 4 values: red, blue, green and white. That means there are 4 colors. If any attribute having more than 2 attribute value pairs, it is called as discrete. So what will I do by this? So for a new instance, I'll get a new ball here. Fine. Say for example with a different color. I am supposed to compute the distance just like this example. Fine. I'll compute the distance and I'll see the closest value. What is the closest value? We will see now. Fine. So I'll find the distance from this green ball to this green ball. I'll find the distance. How to find distance? I've just told. Use Minkowski's, Manhattan or Euclidean distance. Find the distance between these 2 attribute value pairs. Now once you have found the distance, find out the least one. The least one will be paired to the next nearest one. How long will this continue? It will depend on the concept called as majority voting. What is that majority voting? The majority voting is nothing but the least distance value and the class label is common in nature. That means, now say for example distance from this green ball to green ball is 3.5. Distance from this to this is 2.5. So 3.5 is nearer to 2.5 when compared to red, which is having say for example 5.5. So I can't group them. So when I group these two, what will happen? These two are green balls, and if I take the majority voting, when I've taken the value of k to be 2, the majority of them are green. So the class label of new instance will be green itself. That is called as majority voting. We'll solve a problem, then only probably will be able to understand it very easily. So in a simple sense, when I have the training records and the testing record, what will I do? My first objective is to compute the distance and then find the nearest neighbors. That will help me. Fine. So this process is called as majority voting. Or in a simple sense, say for example you in a class of 50 students, fine, I'll announce it that on a weekend I'll be having, or I'll be conducting an additional class or an extra class to complete the syllabus. Now 50% of the strength may say yes sir, please conduct. 25% may say no. 25% may say we are not decided. So what is the majority there? 50% of them are saying yes, so I'll conduct the class. That means the class label of the new instance will be conduction of class. That is what I call it as majority voting. Now, so how exactly the nearest neighbor classifier works, what is required, we'll discuss. Fine. So your nearest neighbor requires 3 things. What are those? The set of stored records. That means the training samples. I said right, the nearest neighbor classifiers or your instance based classifiers are examples for lazy learners. They will store the examples. So first thing is they need the stored records. Second, as I told, compute the distance between 2 records. Which are those 2 records? The training record and the testing record. Compute the distance using Manhattan, Minkowski's and Euclidean distance, and then decide the value of k, so that how many number of nearest neighbors must be there. That is the value of k. Now how is the process scheduled? So first I'll compute the distance, identify the k nearest neighbor and take the majority voting. So I'll compute the distance, least distance, any record having least distance, I'll start grouping them. Among those groups I'll see the class label. Any class label is appearing more than the specified threshold or the frequency value, that I call it as majority voting, and that will be the class label of the new instance. This is how your nearest neighbor works. Now the exact definition of your nearest neighbor through a example. Now you can see this. I have my training records which has some negative examples, which has some positive examples. Now what will I do? I'll see the number of nearest neighbors, whether the number of nearest neighbors are 1, 2 or 3. That means from one point to the other point, if the distance is very minimum, then that record will become the nearest neighbor. So I have negative examples and I have positive examples. I have centroid of the given dimension or the new instance. This x is nothing but the new instance. I am supposed to calculate the distance from this new instance to either the positive instance or negative instance. So first in this case I am calculating the distance from the new record x to the negative instance. I find the distance to be x. Fine. In the second step I compute the distance from the new record to the positive instance and I find the distance to be y. Now so I have computed the distance from the new record x to negative instance as well as positive instance, and I have labeled them as x and y, small x and small y. Fine. Out of these two, which is less? Say for example, if x is less, that is for the negative instance, then I will group the new instance and the negative instance in one group. Then I will compare the distance from the positive instance to the new record. I will compute the distance and I will see if the distance is less than x, the small x, or not. If it is less, I will group the new instance and positive instance along with the negative instance. That is what I have done in the second iteration. I have computed the distance from the new record x to positive instance and I have found the distance to be less than the negative instance distance and I have grouped this. This process keeps on repeating and the value of k will be specified to you, or there is a process on how to choose the value of k. We will see that. How to choose the nearest neighbor for the classification? If the value of k is too small, then it is sensitive to noise points. So what does that mean? The value of k is small, that means the number of neighbors are small. Then what will happen? There are too many instances, either positive or negative instances, lying outside the boundary. These become the noise points. We have already discussed your outliers. These instances are an example for outliers, which indicates the noisy points. That means your data becomes inconsistent. And if the value of k is too large, then the neighborhood may include points from other classes also. So possibly I want to make a set of positive instances, a set of negative instances, but unfortunately if the value of k is too large, then I'll group both positive as well as negative instances. In such cases, finding majority voting will become a very difficult task. So how to find the nearest neighbor between 2 points? And as I've already said, we'll make use of the concept called as Euclidean distance. The distance between the points P and Q is calculated as summation of all the inputs starting from first instance to the last instance. Differentiate the x and y coordinates whole square and take the square root of it. You'll get the Euclidean distance. That is what is the option available. Either your Euclidean distance, as I've told already, or your Manhattan distance or Minkowski's distance can be used to calculate the distance from training records to the testing records. Now once I start using this Euclidean distance, there are some problems with respect to your nearest neighbor classification. One is your scaling issue, the second one is the curse of dimensionality. What is this scaling issue? Say for example, height of a person may vary from 1.5 to 1.8 meter. Weight of a person might vary from 45 kgs to 120 kgs. Income of a person may vary from $10,000 to 1 million. So what does this indicate? When there are range of attribute value pairs, then finding the nearest neighbor will become very difficult. Say for example, if I am taking height, fine. So the weight of a person is 75 kg, the new instance, and your 75 kg, the weight new instance varies within the range 45 to 120. That means it is somewhere in between these two. Then whether to classify it as a low weight person or a high weight person is very difficult. So this is the problem with respect to your nearest neighbor classification. That is, attributes may have to be scaled to prevent distance measures from being dominated by one of the attributes. So when it's a range of values, it's a problem with respect to your nearest neighbor classification. Hence I go for scaling the given attribute value pairs. The next one is the curse of dimensionality. Now say for example here I have taken two examples of two terms, say x and y. Here also say I have taken x and y. Now what is the problem with respect to your Euclidean measure? So this becomes an example for curse of dimensionality. How will this be an example for curse of dimensionality? We will see. Now as I said, I have taken two examples, two terms x and y, fine. Now how to find the Euclidean distance between these two terms? Now how many instances are there here? A couple of instances are there. How to find the Euclidean distance for these two terms? Square root of 1 minus 0, first instance, second instance, third instance from term x to y, all instances, fine. So how to find the Euclidean distance? Square root of 1 minus 0 whole square plus 1 minus 1 whole square plus 1 minus 1 whole square plus 1 minus 1 whole square. Repeat the same process at the last, plus 0 minus 1 whole square. By this what will happen? The value of the Euclidean distance will be equal to 1.4142. Now apply the same thing to your second instance example, the second term, wherein I'll find the Euclidean distance as square root of 1 minus 0 whole square plus 0 minus 0 plus 0 minus 0 whole square plus 0 minus 0 whole square plus 0 minus 1 whole square. In that case also the distance will be 1.4142. That means the curse of dimensionality with respect to your I dimensionality becomes an issue. Why? Here in this example I have more number of ones, in this example I have more number of zeros. This is the drawback. I call it as curse of dimensionality. We have already discussed curse of dimensionality. When the number of dimensions and dimension levels are more, the space required to compute the number of cuboids becomes difficult. That problem we called it as curse of dimensionality, and we went for partialization, wherein we discussed about no partial materialization, full materialization and partial materialization. So similarly with respect to your Euclidean measure in case of nearest neighbor classification, if there are more number of ones or more number of zeros, that means the high dimensional data, if I compute the distance, then both are equal. That means the presence of significant number of ones or significant number of zeros doesn't make a difference with respect to your curse of dimensionality. So what can I do? I am supposed to normalize the vectors to unit length. What is this normalization? Range it within the range of 0 to 1. Now how to solve this? We'll see with an example. The first thing we'll do now is we'll discuss the KNN algorithm, where K stands for the number of nearest neighbors. K indicates the value. If K is equal to 1, it's a 1 nearest neighbor. If it is 2, 2 nearest neighbors. If it is 3, 3 nearest neighbors. So I'm not knowing the value of K, so I just represent it as a constant term here. So it's your K nearest neighbor algorithm for classification. So any classification algorithm requires a set of training examples and your target function or your testing record, fine. So let K be the nearest neighbors and D be the set of training examples. So please remember the first step. The first thing is I am supposed to choose the value of K. If I indicate K is equal to 3, it indicates that while applying the classification, the termination condition is when the value of K reaches 3, that means 3 nearest neighbors, then I will terminate the algorithm. So what is required? D be the set of training examples. That means your D is nothing but the data set consisting of training examples, and each example, what will it consist of? It will consist of the instance and their attributes and their respective attribute value pairs. Now what is the second step? For each test example Z, so the new record or the new instance is your testing example or testing instance, that I denote it as Z, having the coordinates x dash y dash. So your training examples will have the coordinates x comma y. Please remember, training data set D will have x comma y coordinates. Your testing data set Z will have x dash y dash. Now for all these testing examples and training examples, what I am supposed to do? I am supposed to calculate the distance from x dash to x. That means from your training records to your testing records. That's what I'm saying. Compute the distance x dash comma x, the coordinates, the distance between z and every example xy that belongs to your data set. I said data set as the coordinates x comma y for each and every training example. For that I am supposed to calculate the distance from testing example to training examples. How? Calculate the distance. How to calculate distance? We have seen. Either use Euclidean distance, Manhattan distance, or Minkowski's. So compute the distance from every training example to the testing example. Then what should I do? Select dz. What is z? The testing record distance that belongs to the data set, such that the set of k closest training examples to z. That means specify the value of k. Start finding the nearest neighbors. You have computed the distance in the third step, right? From the training examples to the testing examples. So specify the value of k. That means the number of nearest neighbors, and try to find the closest from the training examples to the testing record z. Among those which is having the least distance, based on the value of k, return it as the max value. That means, say for example, when I take the nearest neighbors to be 5, and among those 5 I find that 4 are positive, 1 is negative. Which is the maximum out of it? Positive. So the class label for new instance will be positive. That's what I call it as argmax. Your argmax is nothing but the formula for your majority voting. We saw a slide wherein majority voting, we gave a mathematical notation. Argmax is the same for it. It indicates the majority voting. As I've said, if there are more positive instances out of 5 nearest neighbors, then the class label will be positive, or the vice versa. If there are 3 negative instances and 2 positive instances out of the 5 nearest neighbors, k value of 5, then the class label will become negative. This is how your KNN algorithm works. So I hope you have understood the KNN algorithm fine. So it's a simple process wherein the data set will be given, which consists of training examples. A new record will be given, which is your testing data set. The first thing that you are supposed to do is find the distance from your testing instance to all the training examples in your data set. After finding the data set, see which record instance from your test record to the training record as the least distance. Pick that. You will be knowing the class label of it. Then find the next nearest neighbor. How will you find the next nearest neighbor? Look at the distance. If it is less, start grouping them. How long will you group? Based on the value of k. Once you have grouped, you will have the class labels. Whichever instance is having the class label common and the frequency of appearance is more, that will be the class label of your new instance. Now we'll see the characteristics as well as the merits and demerits of your KNN algorithm. Then we'll solve an example. Then probably, as I said, we'll be able to exactly understand how the KNN algorithm works. So we'll see the characteristics one by one. Your characteristics of nearest neighbor classifiers are as follows. It uses specific training instances to make predictions without having to maintain a abstraction or model derived from the data. So this is the definition of your instance based learning. That means these classifiers, in comparison to your rule based and decision tree classifiers, they don't build a classification model. They just store the data. New instance come, they compare. If it is available, the result will be notified, else no. That's why we call it as, it makes use of specific training instances but not a abstraction or classification model. The second thing is, it requires a proximity measure to determine the similarity distances between instances and classification function. That's what we did, right? We used Euclidean distance, which is nothing but your proximity measure. I think your mobiles will also have this proximity sensors. When you start dialing a number, your mobile screen will be active. The moment you bring your mobile nearer to your ear, fine, the screen becomes inactive. Again you move it far, it becomes active. That is nothing but proximity sensor. So your proximity sensor will work on the principle of distance. Similarly, here also I make use of proximity measures such as the Euclidean distance or the other two approaches to find the distance between the new instances and the instances in your training records. So as I've said, they don't require any model building. That means they don't build their classification model. So in contrast to your eager learners, that means your rule based and decision tree, they often spend bulk of their computing resources on model building. So your rule based decision tree spend more time in designing a classification model, but whereas your instance based classifier don't waste time in building a classification model. So your instance based or lazy learners make predictions. That means find the class label of the new instance based on local information, whereas your decision tree and rule based work on finding a global model. That means they define and they define a classifier, they build a classification model, and then see whether the new instance or the testing instance fits the model or not. That is called as global modeling. Whereas your instance or lazy learners make use of local information. That means stored examples. That's what I said. All this works on a simple example called as storing the training examples. That I call it as local information. Can produce arbitrarily shaped decision boundaries. Yes, it is not flexible. When I go on grouping the examples, fine, we saw an example, I start grouping positive and negative examples. If I draw a circle for all those k nearest neighbors, the decision boundary is arbitrarily shaped. I can't have a square, I can't have a rectangle or a circle, it might vary, fine. So it can produce wrong predictions unless the appropriate proximity measures and the data pre-processing steps are taken. So please take care when you are designing the process for finding the class label of a new instance by using lazy learners or your instance based learners. They can produce wrong predictions when if you use a wrong proximity measure. Apart from these three, there are n number of measures, so you have to see whether they are, just like we saw the curse of dimensionality, right? Euclidean distance for two different set of training instances, it is giving the same result. So you have to look at which proximity measure I am using and which data pre-processing techniques I am taking for applying onto the given training data set. We have seen the data pre-processing techniques such as your feature selection, discretization, binarization, your aggregation, sampling. Which pre-processing method, a suitable pre-processing method should be selected. So these are the characteristics of your nearest neighbors. Next, we'll see the advantages of your KNN algorithm or the merits. So your KNN, the k nearest neighbor, can estimate the target class locally and differently for each new instance to be classified. Locally, I said the data will be stored, it has to be matched with the testing record. If it is matching, then the class label will be notified based on the concept of majority voting, else the result will not be notified. So simple storing and retrieval with comparison, and it will find the new instance for different testing records. The second advantage is it provides good generalization accuracy on many domains. We have discussed how to calculate accuracy. You have to construct a confusion matrix before classification, after classification, and based on total number of correct predictions divided by total number of predictions will give the accuracy. Now I am talking about generalization, that too good generalization. What is generalization? For different data sets it is a standard. That means it is not that for different data sets it will give varying accuracy results, it will give you accurate results, fine. That is what I call it as good generalization, and it will obviously learn very quickly. Why? Your rule based decision tree classifiers, fine, which are your eager learners, they will have to build a classification model, so learning takes more time, it is not that quick. That's why I say in comparison your KNN learns quickly because it is not building any model, and it is robust to noisy training data. We saw an example, if I take the value of k to be very small, all that noisy data will be eliminated and the model for classifying new instances will be very robust. And the last merit, it is very spontaneous and easy to understand, obviously because there is no model involved in construction or designing. It will be easy to understand and very quick, which facilitates implementation and modification very easily. So when there is no classification model, the implementation process is very easy, and even the modification steps, that are supposed to be applied will be very easy. Next, we'll see the disadvantages of your KNN algorithm. Obviously, I said once it has to store all the training records, so it's a very difficult task, has large storage requirements because it has to store all the data. That means all the examples must be stored, huge amount of space is required. Is slow during instance classification because all training instances have to be visited. So obviously fine, you have one merit wherein you are not constructing a classification model, you are simply storing. If I am supposed to compare the new instance, the testing record with training records, what will happen? If I have 1000 records, I am supposed to scan it linearly, one by one, sequential. First record will be compared with training instance, now second record, third record, fourth record. So similarly, if my record is the nth record, then I am supposed to search all the n instances in my training data set which are already stored. So it becomes slow for instance classification. Now we said it's a good generalization for accuracy, but sometimes the accuracy of KNN algorithm can degrade if there is increase in noise of a training data set. So if there is more noise in the training data set, then accuracy will get degraded. Apart from that, accuracy can also get degraded if there are more number of irrelevant features. So I please repeat once again. So accuracy will be good for many number of models, but unfortunately if the training data set has too much of noise or irrelevant features, then the accuracy can degrade. So these are the some of the merits and demerits of your KNN algorithm. So now we'll see an example how to apply the KNN algorithm in finding the class label of a new instance. So here is an example. Given a data set contains the type of tissues, understand this fine. The number of instances are nothing but the tissues produced by a company and its respective client response. So the client response is the class label. The response might be good or bad, so it's a binary classification. So what are the attributes of this tissue? Acid durability and strength. These are the two attributes of this given tissue. How many instances are there? 1, 2, 3 and 4. So there are 4 instances and their respective class labels. The client response is taken as class label for easy understanding, and the responses are bad, good, good, fine. So we'll try to apply the KNN example or the KNN algorithm for this given example. Now I am supposed to find, as we have already discussed, your KNN algorithm is nothing but the K nearest neighbor algorithm to find the class label of a given new instance. So this is my training data set or my training records, and this is my testing record having acid durability 3 and strength as 7, and also the given condition is the number of nearest neighbors must be 3. So what is the first step we have discussed? So what I am supposed to do here, I am supposed to find the distance from the new instance or the test data to testing examples. How to find distance? In this case we shall make use of your Euclidean distance concept to find the distance from the testing instance to the training instance. Fine. So that is what I have done. We will make use of Euclidean distance to measure similarity between other instances. How to do it? We will have a table here. Fine. So prepare a table wherein these first 4 columns indicate my training data set and this is the Euclidean distance. Now I have 4 tissues with their attribute value pairs acid durability and strength as 7, 7, 7, 4, 3, 4, 1, 4 respectively, and the class labels for type 1 to type 4 are bad, bad, good and good respectively. I am supposed to find the Euclidean distance. How to find Euclidean distance? The distance between your testing record to your training records. How to find the distance? The formula is square root of q1 minus p1 whole square plus q2 minus p2 whole square up to n terms. So how will I do? I will first find the distance from the testing instance to first record, that is type 1. How? Acid durability is 3, acid durability for type 1 is 7. So 3 minus 7 whole square plus class strength is 7, here also class strength is 7. So 7 minus 7 whole square. Take the square root of it, you will get the Euclidean distance. I repeat, I am supposed to calculate Euclidean distance. How will I calculate? I'll apply the formula mentioned here from testing data to the training data. Testing data is 1, training data are 4 instances. So for all these 4 instances I am supposed to find the Euclidean distance. How will I find? Square root of acid durability is 3, acid durability is 7 for type 1 here from testing data to training record. So square root of 3 minus 7, q1 minus p1, right? So this is q, this is p. 3 minus 7 whole square plus 7 minus 7 whole square, I'll get Euclidean distance. So similarly for type 2, 3 minus 7 whole square plus 7 minus 4 whole square, I'll get the distance. Again for type 3, 3 minus 3 whole square plus 7 minus 4 whole square, I'll get the distance. Again for type 4, 3 minus 1 square root of 3 minus 1 whole square plus 7 minus 4 whole square, I'll get the Euclidean distance. I've shown it here, the same thing, fine. So for I'll see how we have got the distance as 4 here. Training record is 3 comma 7, testing record is 7 comma 7. 3 square root of 3 minus 7 whole square plus 7 minus 7 whole square. 7 minus 7 is obviously 0. So square root of 3 minus 7 whole square. 3 minus 7 is 4. Square root of 4 square is 4. So the Euclidean distance is 4, and I've repeated the same thing for all the 4 instances. So this is the first step. Whenever a training data set is given, in case of your KNN algorithm, the new instance or the class label of the test data will not be available. Only the attribute value pairs will be available. I am supposed to calculate the distance from test data to training record by using Euclidean distance, Manhattan distance or Minkowski's distance. And how to calculate distance, we have just seen the example. Now comes the crux of your KNN algorithm. We will see how it works. Fine. So I have calculated the distance. Now in this slide I have already mentioned, assume the value of k to be 3. That means the number of nearest neighbors are 3. So I have found the Euclidean distance. Now I'll start with the value of k as 1. What is the stopping criteria? The value of k is equal to 3 is the stopping criteria. So k is the value of the number of nearest neighbors. So I'll start with the value of k is equal to 1. So we have calculated distance. Type 1 is having distance 4, type 2 is having 5, type 3 is having 3, type 4 is having 3.6. Among these 4 values, which is the least? Type 3 is having the least value of distance as 3. So this is your first nearest neighbor for the new instance with acid durability 3 and strength 7. Fine. Acid durability is 3, strength is 7. So I repeat, once you have found the distances for all the training examples from the testing records, you take the value of k as 1. So among these 4, the least value is 3. So the class label having the least distance is good. So your nearest neighbor, I repeat, your nearest neighbor with k value of 1 for the new test record is good. Now I'll increment the value of k to 2. So once k is equal to 1 is finished, class of a given instance is good. Why? Because least distance is 3, class label is good. So the nearest neighbor for your test data is good. Now I'll go for the value of 2. If I go to the value of 2 from the data set, fine, you have computed the distance. First one is 3, then you add a distance of 4, 5 and 3.6. From 3, if you look at the distances of record type 1, type 2 and type 4, they are respectively 4, 5 and 3.6. So from 3, which is the record having least distance, that means in comparison to 3, 3.6 is nearer when compared to 4 and 5. So I repeat, the value of 3.6 is closer to 3 when compared to 4 and 5. So the next nearest neighbor for 3 is 3.6 but not 4 or 5, because the distance is more from 3 to 4 or 3 to 5. So 3.6 is near. So the next nearest neighbor when I take the value of k as 2 is 3.6, which is the type of tissue 4. And what is the class label for type of tissue 4? It is good. So with the value of k is equal to 2, the nearest neighbor for your testing instance is again good. But what is my k value given? Assumption k is supposed to be 3. So I will again repeat this step once again. So now the first nearest neighbor, when k was 1, the value was 3. When k was 2, the nearest neighbor was 3.6. Now when I go for k value as 3, that means from 3.6 I am supposed to look at the next nearest neighborhood. I have already considered the value of 3, that means record type 3. So I will not consider this instance. From this 3.6, which is nearest? Type 1 record is having the distance as 4, type 2 record is having the distance as 5. So from 3.6, type 1 record can be reached because the distance is 4, but not type 2 because the distance is 5. So when k value is 3, the nearest neighbor for your testing instance is type 1 tissue, and the class label of type 1 tissue is bad. Please understand this. Fine. When k value was 1, the class label was good. When k value was 2, the class label was good. When k value, the nearest neighbor value is 3, the distance I found it to be 3, the class label is bad. Now this is the second part of your k nearest neighbor algorithm. The third one is I am supposed to apply majority voting. Now what is majority voting? When I have taken the value of k equal to be 1, the nearest neighbor is good. When I have taken it, the value of k is as 2, the nearest neighbor is good. When I have taken the value of k as 3, the nearest neighbor is bad. So the given value of k also is 3. So for k is equal to 1, it is good. K is equal to 2, it is good. K is equal to 3, it is bad. So for first two instances it is good, for the third instance it is bad. So if I apply majority voting, good appears how many times? Twice. Bad appears once. That means if I take the concept of majority voting, I have taken the frequency count, good is appearing twice, bad is appearing once. So in a simple sense, the class label of the new instance will be classified as good, because good is appearing twice, whereas only bad is appearing once when the value of k is 3. So the class label of new instance will be classified as good but not bad, because good is appearing twice, bad is appearing once. You can apply the k nearest algorithm for this given example and submit this as assignment. Fine. So we have just seen the example. I calculate the distance from my testing record to the training record. I found the distance. When I have taken the value of k to be 1, the first nearest neighbor record is type 3 and the class label is good. So the probability that the class label for new instance will be good is when k is 1. If I take k as 2, so the next nearest neighbor for type 3 record is type 4, because the distance is 3.6, but type 1 and type 2 it is 4 and 5. 4 and 5 are far from 3 when compared to 3.6. So again the class label will become good. When I take k as 3, the next nearest neighbor for 3.6 is 4 but not 5. So the class label will be bad. But I apply the concept of majority voting. When I apply majority voting, there are two instances with class label as good, one instance as bad. So majority voting, good is appearing twice, bad is appearing once. So the probable class of the new instance will be classified as good. So as I have told, kindly apply the same KNN algorithm to this given data set, apply the same steps and find the class label of this new instance wherein height is 161 and weight is 61. So this is an example wherein I am trying to find a t-shirt size of a given person and the attribute are height and weight. Height values are given, weight values are given, that means the attribute value pairs are given. So the t-shirt size or the class label also is given, but for new instance the class label is not known. So using this testing record, the training record, find the class label for the testing instance. So this completes your k nearest neighbor algorithm, which is nothing but your the best example for your instance based classifier. In the next video sessions, we'll be learning about your Bayesian belief networks, which are the extension of your instance based classifiers. Fine. I hope you are utilizing your lockdown period for improving your academics. So only Bayesian belief network is complete left out. If I will be able to complete that topic also, your module 4 will be completed. Fine. Thank you.